abide with me. It is a plea.
Exactly.
For company, a plea for hearing.
When I shoot, I have this little mantra going through my head. It's like, abide with me, abide with me, abide with me, because I'm such a klutzy photographer, and I don't inspire any confidence in my models, which I think is one of the reasons that they're so kind to me, is they feel sorry for me in a way, like seriously, writ large, when I was thinking about the overall body of work, I thought maybe that's exactly what I want to say about this whole thing, is like, bear with me, try and understand what I'm saying.
And it seems to me, every photograph is kind of asking the same thing, like, abide with me. It's an invitation to expose us to what we prefer not to see.
Gigi is the woman who worked for your family for so long.
50 years.
And in your memoir, Hold Still, you talk about her being in a role almost like a mother to you. This relationship was structured by racial oppression. Had this been a just and equitable society, Gigi, an extraordinarily capable woman, would not have been in a position where, in order to support herself and feed her family, she would have to go to work for white people. She would have been doing something else, right?
Yeah.
But you also talk about the way that your family's kind of oblivious to all this, right, at the time. You describe taking family trips where you would stop and the family could eat at this restaurant, and the family could relieve themselves in the bathrooms of this restaurant, but Gigi sitting in the car couldn't.
Yeah.
And all that kind of went right over your head at the time.
I think we were aware of it, but there's a certain helplessness about it that, I mean, I was too stupid to realize it, but my parents knew. My parents knew.
And yet she loved you.
I know.
And I think that love is real. And that love is so hard to deal with. I think it's hard for you to deal with. I think it's hard for Americans to deal with. I think it's hard for black people to deal with.
Yeah.
Oh, Betty, look.
These are all your family.
I did pull this picture out here.
Yeah.
Did you notice anything on that picture familiar?
That.
There it is.
Great. I wrote about it in my book about how she always drank from a tin cup.
And that's
there's
the tin cup.
Oh, wait, you got more pictures. I'm begging you.
Betty bought, I know these are the ones Betty bought out when she went to get the rocker. These are Harris's.
Yeah,
right
okay, so these are Tommy's family.
here. Yes, right there.
And Uncle James Leonard Harris, Mama, and Daddy.
And this is Dad's sister, Doris.
Okay, that's what I need to know. What's her name?
Doris Harris. She married Harris.
Oh, really? Did she? That's convenient. Oh, well, anyway, so there we are with her amazing white gloves.
Granny had class.
All right, so one question. Did you ever call Gigi Gigi?
No, she was always called Granny.
So that was our name.
That was your name.
Okay.
And our name was Granny.
We knew Granny was a part of both worlds. And we knew we shared Granny. Was there any jealousy there? There may have been early on, but we got over it. We really did live in separate worlds.
Now this is Christmas dinner.
There was another picture where she's not looking out, but I think that's more powerful. It's like she's thinking about you guys.
We had late dinners. You had the early dinners.
That would be 2:00. And so you would adjust your whole Christmas schedule to accommodate the fact that she was at our house, right? I didn't think of her as someone who was serving dinner. Gigi was there at Christmas because she was part of our family. It wasn't until much later that I realized, hey, wait a minute, she's part of someone else's family, her family.
We still had Christmas. It just may not have been on the 25th.
But did that bother you? Of course it did. I mean, once I became aware of it, I was, I was mortified and anguished.
Did we get married on the same day?
I think we did. June 20th.
Yeah, we had to coordinate our weddings so that Granny could go to both.
So I got married at 7 in the morning.
I know you did. I know you did.
That made it a little bit easier.
You did, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Where was it? Do you remember
First
that?
Baptist.
Just
Just
checking.
First Baptist.
Yeah.
And I think the other relationship that I appreciate with her is that Granny still lives on this earth through another person other than the two of us. And I can't go into the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish
You all
could.
can talk.
I know, I feel the same way.
We grew to know that she divided her time. We know that she cared about you all. She had 2 lives, and she was able to navigate those in such a way that she gave love to everybody. We grew up loving mankind, and that we all come from different perspectives, but that God put love in us, and we are supposed to love our neighbors as thyself. And that is a Christian belief that has, we don't hate. We don't hate. We grew up in a segregated society where maybe we should have, but we don't hate.
I wonder if the photographs that you've made of black churches is a way of exploring that side of Gigi that gave her that light that was inside of her.
Some of those churches actually have that refulgence, that luminosity to them that I felt radiating from her as a person.
If these buildings were occupied and we could enter them, we would be perhaps most struck, as you were struck when you attended church with Gigi,
yeah.
by the drama and the sound of the music, right?
Yeah.
And so
I felt like I was being rolled and tumbled like ocean glass. Really what I was trying to do was to show a place of safety and
sanctuary.
Sanctuary. Typically, I thought I packed up my camera and got in the car, went driving around looking, thinking that I'll find these churches everywhere. Over and over again, what I found were these abandoned structures that seemed somehow so vulnerable, just almost in a human way.
Yeah. It suddenly dawns on me that in every one of these images, there are 2 churches. And this is what I mean by that. Before these churches were constructed as material edifices, the trees created what historians refer to as the hush arbors. And those were the places on the plantation where slaves would abscond and have their religious services, where they could make the noise, sing the songs, pray the prayers, preach the sermons. It's the invisible institution, the black church before emancipation.
The pictures of the men came as a direct offshoot of the trips down south, where I was just so aware of the spirits of the African Americans who had literally built that landscape. And I just came back and started asking a lot of questions. A lot of this for me was just a personal interaction between 2 people. And they kind of stood in for all the people in my childhood that, as you say, I didn't see, you know?
How can that be, though?
I know.
Isn't that
I
something?
think it's white blindness, just classic white blindness. Not just an inability to see, but an unwillingness to see.
Yeah. These are not just images, let's say, of African American men, but this is much about how we see and how to see others as anything.
A classmate of mine, around the time of my law school graduation in May 2006, she emailed me and another classmate, his name's Malik Sharif, about possibly shooting or sitting for Sally Mann. Sally was looking for, African American men because she was trying to do something dealing with the South and the history of the South and race. I'm 24 5 at the time. I thought I would have looked, stronger, more invincible, but I looked surprisingly weak and fragile. I looked like I could have been a slave, even though I had just graduated from Washington and Lee. And trust me, the name is not lost on me either. The images that I saw of the men that were going to be part of this exhibit, the word that keeps coming back to me is haunting. There's a very evocative quality about them. I got the impression she was trying to reconcile being a white woman in Lexington, having lived through some of this history, and frankly, benefited from some of the Southern history, and she was trying to reconcile that through her art. When you see it next to like the trees or the magnolias, and you understand that this is all dealing with the South is beautiful, like when you look at these magnolias, but they also bore strange fruit. And that's the reality that you can't forget.
Many of your photographs are saturated in history. They're saturated in the history of your family, the history of Gigi, and especially the history of the South. James Baldwin, many times during his lifetime, chided Americans, especially white Americans, for being afraid of what they know is there. Because they know there's a lot of pain, they know there's a lot of suffering. Now that you know these things, you have to decide how you're going to act in the world.
Yeah.
And that's what Baldwin was getting at. He's saying that, most people don't want to go into those dark places. What you're doing is really, really rare. And I don't say that to praise you. This is what you should be doing. You're asking your viewers to take a journey into a place where there's no reassurance of conclusion or closure.
Or there's no guarantee that you're going to be comfortable, because it's never an artist's job to make your viewers feel comfortable. My job is to make you think.
Yeah.
Everything is so ambiguous. All my work, there was always ambiguity. And that's a high-risk proposition for me. I hope people take them apart. I hope people look for the nuance. They are nuanced and they are complex, and there's many different interpretations.
I definitely want to take my daughters to see them. I have a 7 and a 4-year-old. I want that to be like, emblazoned in their memory. And I think this is a good way to introduce it through art. You see the tragedy in this situation, and then you also see the beauty in this situation. And so I think that's what she was trying to show, like with the South, with this history, that we really should not be forgetting.